everybody. My name is Nyemade Boiwu, and I'm the Chief Content Officer for AllGo. I'm so excited to bring you another episode of Love Handles All, where we're talking about love stories from people with all different backgrounds and body types, because everybody deserves and should have love, and we want to have people see themselves reflected back in other love stories. So I'm so excited. Today I have the Carters with me. Thank you both so much for joining.
Thank you for having us.
Absolutely. Would you like to introduce yourselves a little bit, and then I'll get into the questions?
I'm Darek.
And I'm Ashley. And well, I know you can have some questions for us, but we've been married for almost 9 years, but we've known each other for,
It's going on 11 years this year.
Yeah, so it's been a while.
Nice. How did you meet?
We met through a dating app, actually. At the time, website.
Right, it wasn't even an app.
Oh yeah, before they're the apps. Mm-hmm.
Right. And so it was really random. I was on this dating app and I was just, searching to see if I could, find somebody that I could be compatible with and just talk to or whatever. And I saw this picture of this young lady, who happens to be my wife now. But at the time, I sent her a message. I never got a reply back. And I'm like, okay, well, I guess, whatever I was doing wasn't working. So I moved on, and probably a couple months later, I get a message. And I'm looking at the message. I'm like, this woman looks kind of familiar. And it was her. I was like, oh, okay. So I'm like, I'm pretty sure I met her before, but I wasn't too sure. But we started talking back and forth, and it got to the point where I became very anxious to receive her messages and her replies back. I was just looking forward to it. And it was like, well, we communicate so much on this app. Why not just exchange numbers and, go from there?
Yeah.
That's pretty much the gist of it, how it all started.
Yeah.
So.
That is cute. I am such a sucker for love stories, so I get really into these. So what was it like on your end? You ghosted him at first and then came back?
Well, see, what's funny is I wasn't sure, his face looked familiar, but he had a different profile picture. So I was like, this guy looks familiar, but I'm not really sure. But whatever, I thought his new profile picture was really handsome. So I was like, I'm not sure if I know him or not. So I'm going to send him a message. But when we started talking, I just found that we had a lot in common. Both really loved music, very down to earth. He was very easy to talk to. That's one of the things I've always loved about him, from day one. And so, we just started, it just gradually went from a phone conversation to meeting in person. And then maybe a month or two after we met in person, he asked me to be his girlfriend.
But I just want to go back and be clear. The profile picture that she saw was me in a suit. That changed everything.
That sealed the deal. That makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes sense. So were you guys already in the same city, or was your relationship long distance at any point?
Yeah, no, we were actually about an hour and a little bit apart. I was in Raleigh, North Carolina, and he was in Greensboro.
What made you how did you guys know that you were the one? Because you've been married now, you said together for 11 years, married for 9 years. So when did you know that each other was the one?
For me, it was us just being together and just enjoying time together and not really doing anything. And just we used to sit and watch Martin, and that's it. We didn't do anything, listen to music. We probably will go out here and there, but just the quality time that we would spend together and not really have anything planned and do anything, we would enjoy each other's company.
Mm-hmm.
So that for me kind of triggered to me, I really like her, and it'll probably lead to something more in the future.
Yeah, I would say too that comfortability, because it was just it didn't matter if we were going out to eat or if we were just spending the weekend, just at my apartment at the time. We just really enjoyed each other's company, and I never got bored. It was always fun. It was always just good. And I could talk to him about anything. And I had never had that before. So I felt like that sealed it for me.
Nice. So going back a little bit into your dating history before the two of you. Ashley, what was it like for you? Were you a serial dater? Did you date, sporadically, or was it something that was harder for you?
I would say it was harder for me, but it was harder for me because I was very picky. I'm still a very picky person. I always like to laugh and say it's the Virgo in me because I'm just extremely picky. But I would go on dates, but it was here and there. A lot of times when I would be on dating apps or meet people in person, it didn't even really go beyond like maybe a phone call or two because I just felt like a lot of times my personality didn't mesh with people. So I would date, but it just wasn't often. So here and there.
What about you, Darek?
For me, it wasn't really something I did a lot. I kind of would like somebody, or I had my share of, me liking somebody, and I had my heart kind of broken a little bit. And I was like, you know what, I'm just going to do me. I'm not really going to look for anybody in a relationship and stuff like that. So I didn't really date around too much. But it was like, I would get lonely sometimes. I'm like, man, I wish I was like, I would see my friends or like the female friends that I would have that like they would have a boyfriend and stuff like that. I'm like, man, I would want that sort of connection with somebody. And I was like, it comes when it comes. I wasn't really looking for it at the time, and it just kind of happened when it did.
Nice. Now, obviously, Ashley is a beautiful, curvaceous woman. Have you always dated curvier women, or is that something? Because sometimes, what I find sometimes is that like men, especially ones who are into more plus size or curvy women, sometimes, especially when they're younger, like they try to hide that, or like they don't want their friends to know or for other people to know. Did you ever go through that, or have you always liked who you liked?
Oh no, I never hit it at all. I mean, I remember back in the day, when Black Planet was a thing, I had like, the whole criteria of what you were looking for in a woman, and thick was one of them. So I never shied away from, the more full-figured woman or a plus-size woman. It just was never a thing to me.
That's good. And then Ashley, did you ever feel that it hindered you, or did it ever put any hesitation on you with dating, make you feel shyer?
Well, I may be a little bit of an oddball, and it may also be because we're from the South. I never really had that experience of it being hard for me or anything, but I will admit I was smaller when he and I met. I was more of on the smaller, curvier side. So I was like more like a size 16 at that time. So, but down here, I just never really had that problem. I only had maybe one person say something about it, but I think it was, I don't really even know the context of how they were trying to say it, but because they were still interested, but they were saying that maybe some other people may not be. It was a weird exchange, but outside of that, I never had anybody bring it up.
That's awesome. And I love that too. And I do think that where you live plays a part in it as well. Because like, I remember, being that size as well, like 16, 18, feeling like I was huge, but I was in upstate New York, predominantly white, where everybody was pencil thin. So comparatively, I was, so I think it's great that you were in an environment where you just felt comfortable, curvy, and cute. I love that. Because I was upstate being the secret girlfriend, that's how I was up there. Yeah. So I love that you two are so happy and wonderful. And I'm not trying to cause any beef, but I do like to ask people, if you could say what your partner thinks, what you think your partner's biggest pet peeve of you is, what do you think it would be? So like, Darek, what do you think Ashley's biggest pet peeve of you is? And Ashley, what do you think Derek's is?
For me, I think procrastination.
Yeah, that's actually accurate. I would say, I'm torn between possibly two, but maybe like being very picky. Sometimes I don't always go with the flow, but I've gotten better, but I feel like that's something he would love for me to get better at.
Are you guys right?
Yeah, I would say so. I would probably say more being impatient sometimes.
Oh, yeah.
I'm an extremely patient person.
He is.
So it's kind of probably it's unfair to expect me or everybody else to be as patient as I am. But yeah, I'll probably say impatient.
Yeah.
That makes sense. That makes sense. But it seems like you have that yin and yang thing going, which can be
Yes. Thank
helpful
God.
sometimes. Yeah. What are some of your favorite dates that you guys go on?
Ooh.
We pretty much have a standing date every Tuesday, which is movie day.
Mm-hmm.
It really doesn't matter what movie it is. It could be something that's terrible, or we don't really think it's gonna be good. We still go to the movies,
Yeah.
and that's kind of our thing. Like I don't know how it even started, but it's been that way for forever, pretty much.
Yeah. I love our movie dates. And then, I don't know. I will say he took me out of town for Valentine's Day this year, and that was probably the best date/weekend I've ever had, like ever, that we've been on. It was amazing because he planned it from the time we left, then did everything. He even took me to an oyster bar I had showed him months ago. I forgot about it, so that was great. But I love our movie dates too.
Yeah. Oh, that's so sweet. That's romantic. Do you think that's part of why, though, you guys have been together so long and so strong? Because, over a decade, I know the marriage has been 10, but 11 years, over a decade, that's amazing, especially in this day and age, to be honest.
Right.
Do you think that's part of why? And what else would you say has contributed to the longevity of your relationship?
I think me personally, I've always told her this, like, before her, I didn't really want to be with anybody. But when it came down to it, and I decided, like, okay, I'm going to marry this lady. I'm going to marry this woman, and she's going to be my wife. It was the commitment that, okay, I'm going to marry you, and I'm going to stay married to you. And so whatever we go through, I feel like it can be worked out. We will work it out, and we're going to go from there. And me just having an understanding, like, it's always going to be work. It's never going to be an easy ride all the time. And just having an understanding, like, okay, we might hit our bumps, but we're going to get through it. We're going to get through it together, and we'll be stronger on the other side of whatever it is we went through. So that was just my personal philosophy going into it, that I try to pretty much stick to.
But I think, like we were saying, talking about the dates, those are the things that help, like, keep it fresh. One thing that we do too is for our wedding anniversary, we always go to a new place that we've never been. And so that's something that we always get to look forward to. And I think that we don't really like to get stuck into a rut. I know he has times where he likes to be a homebody, and I do too, but we always try to keep it fresh. So if we see like a new exhibit coming to the area, or we see a place we want to go to, or a new restaurant, we try to go and do those things. And I think that helps keep things going and keep it nice and fresh for us.
Nice. So what would you each say, since I asked you pet peeves, what would you each say are your top 3 favorite things you love about each other?
Ooh. I'm gonna go first. I'll let you think. Well, I love his patience. Like he was saying earlier, he is such a patient person. Oh my gosh, like he will literally sit down, and he works with customers, like, a lot during his job, and he has so much patience with them, especially like his older customers. And that's how he is with me too. And I just love how patient he is. I love that I feel like he's always accepting of like who I am. I feel like as you go throughout your life, you're always growing, and like who I was 10, 11 years ago is not who I am today. And I feel like he has loved me throughout every stage of my life, and all the growth that I've had. And that's something that I really, appreciate about him, is that he's always accepting of who I am. And then I just also love his sense of humor. He always keeps me laughing. He sends me, this is another thing that probably keeps us fresh too. He sends me memes all day and GIFs. Yeah. So I'm literally laughing all day.
For me, number one, she's beautiful. That's what drew me in initially. So
trying to go inward, but
I mean, you gotta have that attraction at least.
Yeah.
But that's number one for me. Number two, her sense of humor. I would say her sense of humor and her love for music, it kind of matches mine too. So that's another place where we mesh together. Her I guess that's two. I don't know. But three, her always being encouraging and trying to see the best in me even when I don't see it. And trying to keep me focused on, being better, not only for myself, but for us. I think that's a big one as well for me.
Those are great ones. Those are great. And I love it. I feel like, especially from talking to people and couples and stuff, I feel like you can get a sense of when like a couple has a friendship. And I feel like I definitely get that vibe from you two, that you guys are like, you're a couple, but you're friends,
Yeah.
I think that makes a huge difference as well. So
Yeah.
I love it. So part of why I started these series was just to, I think so often we see love stories of people in smaller bodies or people who look a certain way, and then you sort of grow up thinking that you're just going to be alone unless you change, which isn't true at all. So I always say, like, be who your younger self needed. So if you could talk to your younger selves about love and the future and things like that, like what would you tell your 18-year-old you?
Ooh. I would say be patient. The right type of love is out there, and you don't have to settle for someone that is almost right or kind of gives you love and attention. Sometimes you're worthy of all those things. So be patient.
I would say don't let anybody's perception of what you should go for and look for be what you take and move forward with. Always have a sense of what you want and what you know that you deserve.
That's a very good one. Well, I can't thank you both enough for your time and for joining us today to share your love stories with everyone. I'm sure everyone will enjoy hearing it and it will touch someone, and I appreciate you guys taking the time to talk to me.
Thank you. We appreciate it.
Absolutely. And thank you for those who are watching.